part probably.
We'll see.
That we'll see. Yeah, right. But that's whichever you prefer.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start by wishing the United States Army a happy 250th birthday, which is tomorrow. June 14th is 250. So, and there is a parade, as we all know. And I can tell you that the soldiers standing in that parade are going to be the unhappiest people about that parade. Nobody likes the parade. Anyway. On Russia and Ukraine, Russia cannot win this war in its current course. Let me state that up front. It cannot win. And the reason it can't win is because it has settled on an attritional strategy. Yeah, Russia's bigger than Ukraine. The Russian military is bigger than Ukraine. But the strategy that Russia has settled on, or has fallen into, because it did not intend to fight this war this way, it's losing about 154 soldiers killed and wounded per square kilometer gained over the last year or so. Now, war is not a math problem, but if Russia's intention is to conquer all of Ukraine and control all of Ukraine, there are about 494,000 square kilometers of Ukraine that it does not control right now. At that pace of losses, it would lose 76 million people trying to conquer all of Ukraine. Again, war doesn't work that way. But that just gives you an idea of the scale of the challenge Russia faces. So it just doesn't have the personnel and can't mobilize the personnel to win the war on its current trajectory. As long as the Ukrainian military continues, if the Ukrainian lines continue to maintain their integrity, Ukraine can afford to give up space incrementally while inflicting, as Janusz said, crippling losses on the Russians and trade space for time. The other reason that Russia can't win this war on its current trajectory is it will take so long that the inherent contradictions in Russia's policy and strategy, political, economic, and military strategy for this war will eventually, I think, show themselves. Putin does not want to repeat the partial mobilization that he did in August and September of 2022, because that, and especially in many of the places that people here in this room represent, since the Russian military involuntarily mobilized people from among the captive nations primarily and tried to spare ethnic Russians and spare urban residents, big urban centers, from being mobilized, it was destabilizing for the Russians to do that. Places like Dagestan were very close to erupting into open protest. And so he doesn't want to do that again. So what is he doing? He's still mostly mobilizing from among the captive nation, from among the non-Russian people, but the way they're mobilizing is literally throwing money at people. So a Russian private with the enlistment bonus, with the deployment to Ukraine bonus, not even speaking of if he or she is killed or wounded in action, but a Russian private can earn up to $60,000 a year, which is 4 times the average wage in Russia. And so what that's done is they've expanded the military. They're throwing money at recruits to try to get people to sign up. At the same time, they've expanded the defense industrial base, which is now on a wartime footing. So the military and the defense industry are now competing for labor. So you have wage inflation, you have a labor shortage, you have prohibitively high borrowing rates, 20% interest rates, and collapsing consumer demand. So look, the people who were predicting impending Russian economic collapse on day 2 of the war turned out to be wrong. It's almost 3.5 years in. The Russian economy has done fairly well weathering the impact of the war, but it can't do that forever. And I honestly believe within a year or so, there's a reckoning coming. But Putin also can't afford to end the war, because then you've got literally millions of demobilized soldiers that Russia will struggle to reintegrate into society. So on the current path, it's unsustainable. And the only way Russia can salvage a victory is if the U.S. helps it, frankly. And I hope we don't.